I would rather go with the first one because unfortunately, come 5:30, we will lose our chair and we will gain a seating chair, a vice chair will come in at that point. So I'd like to make or propose that change as well as do the inverse of 9B and C. I'd like to propose that we start with 9C and then follow with 9B. So I'd like to give you an update on the COVID-19 business assistance updates in terms of what the Office of Economic Development has been doing. And it just will flow nicely into giving you an update on the economic development strategy. Those are my proposals.
So is your proposal still going through numbers 1 through 8, but then once we get to 9, starting with 9C, then 9B, and then, or starting with 9A, at what point?
Well, I would say that because we do need to have our elections of the officers, but again, we're going to be missing. I'm not sure when Chair Rice will be leaving. I think it'll be around 5:30, and that's around the same time that our vice chair will be coming in. So as we communicated back in April, we wanted to make sure that everybody was in attendance, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen today.
It does seem kind of not possible.
Okay, so given those changes, would someone like to make a motion to approve the Economic Development and Trade Commission meeting agenda for September 14th, 2020?
So moved.
And who was that? Was that Commissioner McNeil? Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Second. I second.
Was the second Commissioner San Vicente?
Yes, I second. Thanks.
Okay, got that. So, Madam Chair, Commissioner McNeil made the motion with Commissioner San Vicente seconding the motion.
Great. That takes us to item number 6, the approval of the minutes. Alex, I think you wanted to make a comment on this one.
Well, excuse me, Chair, we have a first and a second. We have to vote. So
that's right. Sorry. Yes. Sorry about that.
If you'd like me to call out everybody's name and they can say yay, nay.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to go by my list here. I'm going to start with Chair Rice. Your vote?
Yay. Yay.
Okay. Commissioner Mundra?
Yay.
Okay. Commissioner McNeil?
Yay.
Commissioner San Vicente?
A.
Commissioner Awathi?
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gomez?
Yay.
Okay, so then that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6-0. The motion passes, so we can move forward with the proposed agenda.
Okay, perfect. So with that, the motion carries. So the next thing we'll work on is the approval of the minutes from the April 24th, 2020 meeting. Do you have those completed, Alex?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Staff is currently working on developing the meeting minutes. We have been typing them up. I think they need a little bit more work. So we're going to get them to you as part of the package related to our October meeting. If that is okay with everyone.
So you need a motion to table.
Yeah, do we need to make a motion to accept that, correct, Alex?
I think the motion, yeah, and I think Commissioner McNeil just made the motion to table it until the October meeting. So that could be the motion. We would need a second.
Okay, can we get a second?
I second it.
I think I heard Commissioner Mundra. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner McNeil and seconded by Commissioner Mundra. And now we have to vote again.
Yes, that's fine. So So all those in favor, either yay or nay, and then Alex is going to go by each commissioner.
Okay, I will start with you, Chair.
Yay. Yay.
Yay, okay. Commissioner Mundra?
Yay.
Okay. Commissioner McNeil?
Yay.
Okay. Commissioner San Vicente?
Yeah,
Commissioner Awathi?
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gomez?
Yay.
Okay. Passes 6-0. We will table it for the October meeting.
Perfect. So next, we will have item number 7, our public forum. Those interested are invited to address the commission on any subject not on the agenda via meeting public comments form available at https://www.ci.milpitas.ca.gov/public-comments/. The commission chair or the Office of Economic Development staff will read comments out loud at the meeting. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required of the commissioner staff. However, commission members may request staff to add the item to a future meeting agenda. This public meeting will be led with professionalism, respect, civility, so profanity and/or vulgar language will not be shared. We will
Okay.
move. Yep.
Mike, at this point, typically Daniel would be reading off any public comments. At this point, is there a way for you to forward those to us so we can share them verbally if we in fact have any?
No public comments.
No comments, Rochelle?
No, Director.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to move forward since we do not have any public comments at this point.
I do have a couple of questions. So, where is Daniel?
We
Well,
were
that's-
we announced that in section 8, which is the
Yep.
next.
Absolutely. So we're just going to move on to item 8 with announcements. I'm going to let Alex lead off. He has some changes and some announcements that he would like to make on behalf of the Economic and Development and Trade Department at the City of Milpitas.
Thank you,
Go
Madam
ahead,
Chair.
Alex.
Thank you. So typically we would go around the room and give announcements as to what your specific thoughts are about economic development, or maybe you have an event that you want to plug. However, this time what I'd like to do is do a little different, something a little different is go around the virtual table and get a better thought, get some thoughts from you about how you feel the economy is being affected due to the COVID impacts, how your respective business is doing, and or how our local business community is doing and how we can help. So because we didn't put that in a agenda item, we can just discuss it out loud, and staff can perhaps bring it back. If you vote, we could bring something back to put in the agenda for the October meeting. So for now, what I'd like to do, since we're talking about announcements, I'd like to make sure you know who's part of our economic development team. A lot has changed since the last 5 months, in that here we are, or 6 months, we are working remotely. Mostly, City Hall is closed, although we do have some colleagues that are still working from the office. But just wanted to say that with us today are Mike Liu, our IT director. He and Rochelle Curry is also helping out IT, and she's with the city manager's office. They are helping us make sure that the Zoom meeting is going smoothly. So thank you to them. I will say, Commissioner McNeil asked about Daniel Degu. Daniel Degu, as many of you know, is our economic development coordinator. About 6 weeks ago, he and his fiance welcomed their second child to the world. Her name is Sarah, and so these days Daniel is at home with his family. So we look forward to him returning sometime in what I think might be mid-October.
Very good. Outstanding.
Also, we'll add that we have been partnering with Margaret Tamasia, who's with us. She's a special projects coordinator working with us. Erica Kramer has also been assisting us, thanks to Rochelle Curry. She is part of the city manager's team, but we've been able to partner with her from an office administration component. We do have an intern by the name of David Clark. I believe he's on today. And we have others from other departments that have been helping us. Liz Koo from the engineering department. She's an analyst. Elijah Merman, who is a special projects associate with the city manager's office, has been helping us as well. And I'd like to formally introduce you to our new economic development specialist. Her name is Nicole Inamin. She is with us. Nicole, if you want to wave and say hello, that would be good.
Welcome on board, Nicole. Good to have you here.
So I wanted to make sure that you knew that there's been some changes in that we are having to partner with other departments to make sure that we're able to proceed with our economic development work plan. So I just want to say thanks to them. With that, Madam Chair, I'm going to hand it back to you for announcements. Madam Chair, can you hear us?
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Yes, my computer, so I'm on the Zoom. So in terms of announcements, we kind of, as Alex said, we'd like to hear from different commissioners on what your perspective on COVID and small business. And if there's any others, there's not really a whole lot of events that are coming up unless there's something important, from the chamber that is something that helps small business. We also wanted to see if
Madam Chair, we can't hear you very well.
We got
For those that are not speaking, if you can make sure to mute yourselves, maybe we'll get better sound that way. Let's try you again, Madam Chair. Can you proceed?
Okay, so Alex and I talked into this point a little bit earlier. We wanted to use this section in this agenda item to talk a little bit about small business and businesses just in general and how COVID is affecting that. And maybe if there's some resources, we talk a little bit about the chamber and there's a lot of events going on right now, but if there were any sort of opportunities and feedback, just wanted to kind of hear about what's going on, kind of the boots on the ground out there right now.
we have
I'm sorry, is remember Karina Dominguez on? Alex?
we have a great difficulty trying to figure out what you're saying, Len.
Okay, let me try and
Cannot hear a word.
can you not hear?
Yeah, we
It's
can-
Very
breaking up.
computerized. It's not coming through at all.
Okay, I'm gonna have to dial it again. For some odd reason, I don't know why this is not working here. So, Alex, can you hear me at all?
Alex, you're muted.
Alex, you're muted.
Yeah, Alex, you're muted.
While
I
I come back in, Alex, can you maybe talk about what we wanted to share for item number 8?
yeah,
And
Madam Chair, you sound very garbled. It's not a good connection at all. So I will help
I'm
out.
gonna call back in.
Okay, thank you. I will
Yeah.
help. Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah,
We can hear you.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry for the little bit of delay there, but hopefully Chair Rice will call back immediately and things will be back in order. So what we're hoping we would do is go around the virtual table and just get thoughts from commissioners and Councilmember Dominguez as our council liaison as to how you're dealing with the COVID-19 from a business perspective, of course. What are the things you're hearing that how business is being affected due to the pandemic? So we can just go around briefly and share thoughts. This is just an announcement. If you have other announcement, that's perfectly fine too. We would like to begin with Councilmember Dominguez. She has been doing her shop local promotions at city council meetings with having business backgrounds on her Zoom background. So that's one way to support our business community. So I'm going to hand it to her.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see everybody. It's been a while. First and foremost, welcome. I know it's been a very challenging couple of months, but first, I just want to express my dearest gratitude for all of the work that you guys are doing. Congratulations to all of you. You guys are going to be on a team that is going to lead the city into recovery. So congratulations. Our work plan shifted 360 in a matter of 2 weeks as soon as it was approved. Alex did a marvelous job. We approved it. And then 2 weeks later, COVID hit. And so we have all had to pivot in ways that we have never pivoted before. Many of you have heard me say that we're going to have to be more forward thinking. We're going to have to make the box, not think outside the box. At this point, we have to make the box. And one of the ways that we are trying to help our community and support Alex without getting in the way, I always tell people that staff is, they know they're the champions and we're just here to help. And so one of the things I know community members and businesses have been sharing with us is that they really need some support in marketing. That's kind of it, because everyone's trying to figure out how to run their businesses and moving with all the different guidelines that are coming through the county. So one of the ways our office is doing that is a fun way. It's actually turned into something bigger in the last couple of weeks. It turned out with the simple idea of a fun way of, if you are on our Facebook page, you could go ahead and put Monday. It opens up at 8 a.m. It closes at 8 p.m. You could nominate a small business for us to select them. We put them in a random drawing and then we select them old-fashioned way. And we've been able to select 2 where we just put them on the Zoom background. We just put their information, let the people know their operational hours to support our sharp local campaign from both the chamber and the city. And then a week ago, we got a call from the Militas Police Officers Association that they loved what we were doing because it was really showing our community members, our business members, that they are the backbone of the city and that they're not alone in this. And so what they are doing now is that for every business that we select, they are giving them $1,000. So for the next 4 weeks, we had our first selection last Tuesday, which was Celsius Ice Cream, and the POA went and delivered $1,000 check. And so today we are going to be closing it at 8, and then we'll do the drawing up at 8:30. If I don't work on Monday night, I'll do it Monday night, but it just depends on the shift. Like today, I have to go back to work, so it's going to be a little hard for me to do it tonight. But definitely it'll be done by 8:30 the day of council. And we'll go ahead and highlight them. And then Alex from the Milpitas Police Officers Association will go ahead and deliver a $1,000 check to them. So if you could help us with that, that would be great. Yeah, so I'm just here to support the great work that you guys are all doing. Excuse me, my allergies and my respiratory issues have been really bad today. So if you see me itching, that's what's going on. But as many of you, we're just pivoting and helping support our city that is we're experiencing some really challenging times, and it's not going to get any better. I hate to sound so daunting, but Alex is amazing. He knows it all. He's going to make this happen. So I thank all of you for your partnership and your work. Thank you.
Councilmember Dominguez, that is a great story. Obviously, a very innovative way to support our local businesses. Right now, it's incredibly important to shop local. It's always been, but perhaps no more important time than now to make sure to visit our local businesses. And what a great way for the partnership with the Police Officers Association and resulting in marketing as well as $1,000. That is fantastic. Thank you very much. Keep it going. We really appreciate it. I do see that we have our chair back on. I think she's on the phone. She's still muted. Chair Rice, can you hear us? She's still muted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go by who I see on my screen, going from my top left
Can-
to right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
There,
So I just wanted to give a brief update.
do you have, Madam Chair, do you have your computer on as well? If you do, if you can.
I'm getting off. I'm leaving the meeting right now. Okay. I'm leaving the meeting right now. So I just wanted to kind of give everyone an update on what we're doing at the Great Mall and how that has impacted business, just to give kind of a brief overview. As many of you know, we opened at the beginning of July, only to end up closing 2 weeks later. We were fortunate enough to be able to reopen on September 1st, and we opened at a 25% capacity of our normal occupancy with no common area retail for the most part, that people are able to just pretty much come in 3 of our entrances and go to the stores they want and go out those open entrances. This past Wednesday, we were able to open at almost 50% capacity, or 1 person for every 150 square feet, whichever one is stricter. And we just keep working to help support our retailers, both with curbside pickup outside. We're still doing takeout, and then just whatever we can given the parameters from the state and the county. Hoping to be able to open up more as we go along.
Thank you, Chair Rice. There was a couple of weeks ago where we were working with both our chair and the general manager of Great Mall to develop and open an outdoor marketplace. But thankfully, things are moving in the right direction from both the state and the county, which is why we're now able to open at specific capacities. So, okay. I'm going to go to the top left of my screen and call people out based on what I see. And so, Commissioner Mundra, if you'd like to share your thoughts about the business response to COVID-19. You're on mute.
Okay, now it works. So there's a couple of things I'd like to talk about. First, I'll talk about what the chamber has been doing to give some hope to local businesses. And one of them is the Shop Militas, where businesses offer some kind of a prize, and then we take that out to the public, and people who go spend $20 or more and submit their receipts will be entered for a $50 prize in a drawing. And so that's going to come to fruition on the 27th and the 28th of September. And so that at least gets the public and the businesses sort of moving forward again. And then also the chamber is offering free advertising on the visual directory, which is Discover Milpitas. That allows them to, it's really, I don't know if any of you have seen it yet, but it's a directory where it's very engaging, and it really gives the businesses some presence. So we're doing that for free for everybody, every business, and it's not limited to Milpitas. It's just anywhere, whoever wants to sign on can sign on for free. And this goes on until December 31st so far. So that will help those businesses that do manage to continue their existence. It'll give them a way to get some free advertising, get some maybe garner some business. So we're hoping to see some returns on that. And then we're also looking at promoting businesses on a monthly basis. And we're right now in the middle of putting that program together, where we'll highlight at least one major business every month. So that's what's been going on there. And on the other side, I think some of you may be getting some of the information I put together on which way COVID is heading. And in the last couple of weeks, so this is very statistical, I'll just briefly gloss over it. So the trends in COVID have altered somewhat in the last couple of weeks. And once it broke below about 30,000 new cases per day, it put us in a different domain that of activity. And if it holds there, that's very positive. And the overall effect, the calculated effect is that, there's very little potential hope for any change for the next 6 to 9 months. And following that, it's going to take about another year for the vaccine to really become effective and start affecting the population. So a couple of years out, we sort of see activity picking up significantly from whatever levels it's at, because people will need to get businesses back and activities back and everything else. So that about rounds that up. So that's basically numerical based. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mundra. Commissioner McNeil, would you like to share?
Sure. So as you may recall, I work at Flex, which is one of the larger employers in Milpitas, and we manufacture products for various customers. And so we're considered a contract manufacturer, where companies come to us to help manufacture goods and products. Flex is a very large company internationally, and we do a lot of business with key and critical customers. In fact, we were recognized as a critical infrastructure facility, manufacturing facility, and we were fortunate to work with the city, to work with the government leaders to get our manufacturing at least back so that we can deliver key critical components to customers. In fact, many of the products that we make are delivered to hospitals, and so we were able to get some of those out. We also began manufacturing masks, and so our masks that we distribute to our employees are now made here in Milpitas on site, which was quite a big undertaking, and we were able to launch that very quickly for ramp up. It takes a long time to ramp up a new product, and being able to do that so quickly was something that's very big, and our site did a very good job of doing that. We now manufacture about 40,000 masks per day and distribute not only through Flex, but other organizations as well. So, of course, whenever we do this, we had to put in a lot of cautionary measures. Stay 6 feet apart. How do you do workstations so that people are safe and secure? And so we went through a big process change of how we reorganize our business in order to manufacture products. And so our teams and our management, they spend a lot of effort, spend a lot of time, instructions, working with everyone to ensure that everyone's safe. Safety is first and foremost. Our employees are very critical to us, and we want to value them. So we had to put a lot of things in place. Most of the office workers, they work from home. In fact, probably 95% of those still work from home. We do have one unfortunate announcement. One of the office employees, he passed away from COVID-19. So fortunately, we've had very, very few cases. I think 5 cases for a site of 1,800 employees. But a person by the name of Carlos Carrillo, who was working from home, not a Milpitas resident, but he passed away. A very good character, and so the sites. Then you have to put everything in perspective. You have to ensure that everything is safe, and so yes, we've made a lot of accomplishments. We've done a lot of great things, and unfortunately, we also had a family member, a Flex family member, pass away from it. So good things, a little sad things, and so we're doing very well as a site. Of course, business is probably down around 20%, but that's in this economy, that's about what you would expect. So that's what's going on with my company and Flex.
Commissioner McNeil, our deep condolences. I can only imagine how difficult it is for the Flex family to lose someone due to the pandemic. So I hope everyone is doing okay in that regard. It is good to hear how you were able to basically pivot once again. That's the word that we're all using, pivot, and provide those good products that we end up needing for health and public health and safety. So thank you for that. On my screen is Commissioner San Vicente. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I wanted to ask, he said, Commissioner Casey McNeil said that Flex produces 40,000 masks per day.
Yes.
Who are the clients and how much do they cost?
We do not sell those. Those are for Flex internal, so we manufacture them for Flex across the world. Flex has 170,000 employees, and so we manufacture masks at our site to support many of the sites. And so every day employees come in, they have to get a new mask, and so that's mostly for the employees. But we have distributed. I think we gave some to the local fire department, and I'm not sure who else.
Okay, so it's not for sale, basically. Okay, thanks.
No, it's not for sale.
Thank you, Commissioner San Vicente. Commissioner Awati, would you like to say something? You're on mute.
Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. The Shop Milpitas has been a very great initiative, and the word has been going around. And with the businesses like the Great Mall opening and other small businesses like the hair salons opening in a phased manner, so things are getting better little by little, day by day. And even I've talked to people around here, and of course, the grocery business has been good because people have been mostly at home and cooking at home also. But at the same time, the food delivery business, the restaurants, while they were kind of zero, they have been picking up. A few I talked to, they said that they are back to around the same level they were doing with the delivery from DoorDash and all these people picking up. So little by little, I think we are getting better in a very small way. Hopefully it remains like this, and in the next 6 months or 8 months, we should be back to normal. Thank you.
You're on mute, Alex.
Thank you, Commissioner Awati. You're right. I agree. Things are getting better little by little and day by day. With that, it brings us to Commissioner Gomez. Would you like to share any thoughts?
Yes, I would. I think I have the same sentiment that things are getting a little bit better right now during the summer, minus the smoke cover that we're experiencing. But I think the concern from the businesses that I've spoken to is winter, because right now there's a lot of outdoor dining. And so when winter comes and rain falls, or if it's chilly, I think the concern is how are they going to keep up? So if we as a commissioner team can come up with strategies that can help the restaurants or the delivery businesses and help them market, we could hopefully help keep that momentum up. And I know because there's a lot of working from home, 95%, maybe pivoting to meal prep programs with some of the restaurants, because I know a lot of families are using like Hello Fresh and meal prep where they get the delivery and they don't have to go and do the shopping and everything's kind of there. You know, just kind of thinking of out of the box or making that box, trying to help them kind of strategize on how they can move one step further once, you know, winter hits.
Thank you, Commissioner Gomez, and that is certainly a concern. And we can get into this a little bit deeper, but our Milpitas outdoor dining program is definitely being successful, but it is a temporary program. So we'll need to figure out how we proceed when it starts getting a little colder and we have to begin to go inside. So appreciate the ideas about the meal preps. Okay, so with that, Chair Rice, we have gone around. I believe we've asked all of our commissioners. If I missed somebody, my apologies. Please chime in now if I missed you. Okay. I think we can now move from what is announcements number 8 to the agenda, business issues. Chair.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Alex, now?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay, great. Yes, perfect. So why don't we go to, I guess this is going to be 9. Are we doing the economic development strategy update, or are we going to do the COVID-19 business assistance to fall kind of in tandem with what we were just talking about? I believe it's the COVID-19.
You are correct. COVID-19. Okay. I'll give an update as the Office of Economic Development has been doing.
Thank you.
Mike and Rochelle will put up the slide here. Okay, so given that it is closer to like 5:15 at this point, almost 5:20, I'm going to go through these 2 presentations fairly quickly. We can obviously have a conversation, but I want to get through this information. Some of you have already seen part of this presentation. Again, want to just say that the initiatives that we've accomplished thus far are really due to a strong collaboration between various city departments, as I was mentioning earlier. And it's really to say that from a city organizational perspective, we're functioning incredibly well during this pandemic, and in some instances have just been more expedient in rolling out programs. So you can move on to the next slide, Mike. Thank you. So, for example, some of the items that I'm going to be discussing could take months, but because of the fact that we're working from home and teleworking and we're collaborating with various departments, we have taken products that have taken months before. Today they're taking us weeks. Sometimes we're doing it in days. So with that, I'm going to run through various initiatives, programs, and projects that we've been engaged in as part of the impact, as part of our response, rather, to COVID-19. And so I'm going to start with on March 13th. This was a Friday. Daniel and I spent pretty much the entire day doing something we haven't done before, which is designing and developing a web page. And it's basically our COVID-19 business resources web page. You can go onto our website and there's quite a bit of information. When we first developed it, we decided we'd put information for our small businesses in particular that had to do around the SBA, the Small Business Administration, both financial and non-financial information. We added information about the California's iBank, which is the California Infrastructure and Economic Development Bank. Again, we added both public and private funding sources there and non-financial information. Just wanted to make sure that we can put out and share really strong, valuable information with all employers and employees. Moving on March 17 is when the county issued the shelter in place. And I think it was March 24th when our city council met, and they knew and had a strong desire to assist our small business community because they understood that our business community is part of the fabric of our overall Milpitas community. And it's a cliche we use often, but we do understand that our business community is the backbone of our small small businesses is the backbone of our business community. So we wanted to help in all ways possible. So our city council developed what became known as our Small Business Assistance Subcommittee. It was made up of our chair, which was Councilmember Montano, and our very own council liaison, Councilmember Dominguez. Those were the two selected, chosen council members to be on the SBA, the Small Business Assistance Subcommittee. We met in a 10-week time frame. We had 5 public meetings. I think some of you may have participated in some of those meetings. The reason and the purpose for the Small Business Subcommittee was that we were supposed to explore business loans and grants, any type of financial or non-financial relief. They asked us to take a look at best practices for different cities around the Bay Area and beyond. They asked us to develop a business survey, of which we did. So I would say a great amount of the work that has been completed that we're going to show you in just a bit has to do with our Small Business Assistance Subcommittee leading the way, as well as our City Council. So as I indicated, there was a business survey completed early on during the shelter in place. Next slide, please. I'm not going to go into deep information about the survey itself, but I have some few takeaways here. I'm starting with this one. So this was a question on the number of respondents reporting that their businesses, or rather the number of survey respondents reported having to close their business. And remember, at that point, we were having discussions about essential businesses versus non-essential. We're not having those conversations anymore, thankfully. But early on, it meant that close to 50% of our businesses in Milpitas were considered essential. So they stayed open. Some had to basically rework their operations. So if they were open Monday through Friday, they decided to stay open Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or open every day, Monday through Friday, but just minimize their overall hours for the day. So 48% of businesses temporarily closed. I don't know at this point, and I've been asking through various subject matter experts about where we've landed in terms of permanent closures, permanent business closures. We don't know that just yet. We are still hoping to get that information in the near future. So we'll share that with you. Next slide, please. This takeaway had to do with, we asked survey respondents if they received financial assistance, where would those dollars be used? Where would they be going? And 76% of the overall respondents, of which there were about 180 survey respondents, about 76% of those said they needed help immediately. Financial assistance, mostly for rent and for mortgage. The second highest section at 15% was labor and benefits, and then utilities right behind that. So those are the top reasons for why small businesses needed financial assistance. Next slide, please. This one I thought was really important because, as we mentioned earlier, between the essential and non-essential businesses, about 50% of our businesses were considered non-essential and had to close. And unfortunately, they either had to temporarily lay off people or just completely lay them off. So what I wanted to show you here is April 2019, we had an unemployment rate of 2.5%. For the last close to 10 years, both Milpitas and the whole region, we've been hovering at around 3% unemployment or sub 3%. And then you get to, of course, March is when the shelter in place took shape, but it wasn't until April that we really started to see what our unemployment rate was. It went up to 12.9%, which went well beyond what we experienced in the Great Recession. And we were about 1 percentage point above the rest of the cities in Santa Clara County. Thankfully, we've started to see a tapering. We're trending in the right direction. Our most recent data set indicated that we have an unemployment rate of 10.6%. I would expect that August, that's going to go into sub 10, maybe 9.5 would be my hope. But as our chair was indicating earlier, just as an example with the retailers, especially those that don't have an exterior entrance or exit, being able to open from 25% capacity to 50% capacity, hopefully that means that we're bringing more employees back. Next slide. So the Office of Economic Development, right away, we noticed that we were obviously working from home, teleworking, of which we still are. So we were able to develop a virtual business assistance center. We just decided to take it, online. Thankfully, we have people at work that speak various languages. So we have been offering services with business assistance, technical assistance, and of course, English, the English language, Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin, and Vietnamese. We've been in contact with well over 350 business representatives, either on the phone or emails or even beyond that in other ways. On our restaurant promotions campaign, we recognized that our restaurants were being hurt badly immediately. So thankfully, we partnered with our Chamber of Commerce. Commissioner Mundra was one of the critical individuals from the Chamber of Commerce that helped us out, as well as representatives from the Lions Club. We contacted over 225 restaurants. We have a web page specifically as a Shop Local promotional page, letting people know early on who was open for takeout or deliveries. Now, of course, we have outdoor dining. That list continues to grow on our website. We contacted our local grocery stores to ensure that social distancing practices were in place, and above all, making sure that the shopping carts were being cleaned for public health and safety. And I'm happy to tell you that that's become the norm, and it is happening. We, on April 16th, hosted a business resiliency and recovery webinar. We partnered with various entities, including the Silicon Valley Small Business Development Center, the Small Business Development Corporation of Orange County, the Chamber of Commerce, and our local Milpitas Unified School District. Again, just sharing information related to financial assistance, technical assistance, non-financial information, just to make sure that our small business community was moving toward resiliency and recovery. We had about 130 people that participated on this webinar. So successful. Next page. We have been following our crisis communications team's strategy in making sure that when we communicate with our businesses and with our overall community, that we lead with empathy, flexibility, and obviously accessibility. We want to make sure that we get back to folks as quickly as we can with valuable information. One way that we've done this is we've issued 25 constant contact messages. So we have roughly 2,800 unique emails based on our business license list. And we have sent out 25 different messages with a myriad of information, letting people know that they can contact us anytime. We've shared information about what's happening at the state, what's happening at Santa Clara County in terms of the former health order, which is now known as directives. We've tried our hardest to ensure to provide valuable information in order to decrease some of the confusion and some of the frustration that has been happening out there for 6 months. So we continue to do this, and I think this is one of those initiatives that will continue in terms of communicating with our business community. And then, of course, going back to our Small Business Assistance Subcommittee, Councilmember Dominguez and our chair, Councilmember Montano, were instrumental in making sure that they recommended to the council a $200,000 loan program utilizing dollars from CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant dollars. Those dollars must be used to benefit low to moderate income persons. In our city, a family of 4 making $112,000 qualifies as a low to moderate income household. Anyway, on August 4th, we went back to council and recommended that we move from a loan program to a grant program. We were finding it was difficult to develop a loan program, especially with a revolving loan fund system. Thankfully, our council approved the grant program. So just a couple of Mondays ago, we held our lottery. It's resulting in 38 different businesses receiving $5,000 grants. We didn't want them to take on any additional debt. when they're looking for a lifeline. So in the next, or sometime this week, we will publicize those 38 businesses. We are still at a point where we are receiving documentation to ensure that they are fully complying with the Community Development Block Grant and also eligibility requirement that our city council set. Next slide, please. I mentioned earlier that our planning department has been very entrepreneurial. They developed what is known as the Milpitas Temporary Outdoor Dining Program. This is not a permit program. They developed a registry, which I thought was the right way to do it. No fee. Basically took 10 minutes over the counter virtually to get on the registry. So it's been a successful program. It continues to grow. We have more and more businesses, restaurants rather, coming in and receiving temporary outdoor dining approval. This Small Business Spotlight is a shop local program. We have partnered with a videographer, and very similar to what Councilmember Dominguez mentioned earlier, we're having our community and doing something fun, nominate their favorite 15 small businesses. We're putting those small businesses into a lottery. Right now, we are taking nominations up till September 21st, with a lottery scheduled for September 25th. And the ultimate result is a 90-second promotional video that will be posted throughout social media, our website, and of course, that business's website. This is free marketing and advertising for them. And so we're very excited about this. Our intern, David Clark, has been leading this program. So we're excited about moving that forward. Lastly, but certainly not least, we are engaged in developing what's known as the Silicon Valley Hotel Industry White Paper. We're developing strategies, policies, and programs related to helping our hotel industry and its workforce to open safely and productively. We're partnering with the Silicon Valley Small Business, I keep saying that, Silicon Valley Economic Development Alliance, as well as the Santa Clara County Economic Recovery Function Team. And so this is a regional component, a regional white paper. But the reason we're engaged is that we know that we have 19 hotels in Milpitas. They're an important component to the fabric of our business community. Not only do they create good jobs from management all the way to entry, of course, as well as it's an important revenue source for the city in transit occupancy tax. So we're trying to do what we can to bolster the hotel industry. And I believe that is the last slide. Next slide, please. That is the last slide. So this is just meant to be an update for you all. At this point, we can check to see if we have any public comment, Chair, or we can go to any questions.
Yeah,
Chair.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question.
Yes, please. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. On the small business shop Milpitas, on one of those screens, you had small business shop Milpitas. Our Milpitas Chamber of Commerce, we have a program like that. I was wondering whether we're willing to work with Indigit on something like that, so they could publish that on our Milpitas Chamber of Commerce website.
That's well noted. Thank you.
Yeah, and Commissioner San Vicente, I'm glad you mentioned that. We have partnered, they have shared, the chamber has shared and marketed some of our programs, and we're doing the same thing through our constant contact messaging. So yes, sir, we will do that.
And the second question was the Hotel Association. Could you also do the same thing for hotels as well? Or local hotels? I'm not talking about hotels outside of Milpitas, but the local hotels that need help. Could you ask them to go to our Milpitas Chamber of Commerce website, because you have a program right now till the end of the year. They could get a free ad in there. They could advertise themselves in the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce or website for free until the end of the year.
That's the Discover Milpitas website.
Yeah, Discover Milpitas. Yeah, exactly.
Thank
They
you.
could be in the Discover Milpitas, and those hotels, they could get a free ad until the end of December, let's say 31st or whatever.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner San Vicente. Yeah, we can share that information with our contacts at the hotel industry locally. It would be great if there was a flyer or something that we can
Yeah.
forward directly.
And you could put the contact person as Commissioner Indigit. He'll be the contact person for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Is there a flyer that we can share, Commissioner?
Yes, I will look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, we can move on to the next item, Chair Rice.
Yep, we can move on to the next item, which is the strategic plan.
Yes. Mike, if you can put that on the screen, please.
So I see we have a vice chair that has joined us.
Yes. Welcome, Vice Chair Norwood. So I do see that
Thank you.
Commissioner San Vicente has his hand raised. Is that
That was the question I had.
okay? If you
The
can
two
just
things, those were the two points I raised about that we could do on Discover with Peters with the small business and for the hotels.
thank you. Yeah, if you can just lower your hand, then that would be good.
But how do you do it? Let me see. How could I lower my? Let me see if I lower
If
my.
you just hit raise
Okay.
hand again, it'll.
Okay, lower. Okay, I lower. Is that lowered now? My hand?
It is. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry I didn't check it out. Okay. thank
It's fine. Before I move forward, though, I want to make sure that we don't miss the public comment for the previous item. Were there any public comments submitted? Michelle? Ms. Curry? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move forward. So now I'm just going to give you again a brief update on the economic development strategy. It is 5:40, so we're going to move things along. I think we're going to be saying goodbye to our chair soon. So I will say, if that's the case, then our vice chair will become our acting chair.
Director Andrade,
Yes.
excuse me, there's one public comment for COVID-19.
Okay, good. Would you mind sharing it, or you want to send it to me, or?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The public comments from Urvish Mehta, PO Box in Milpitas. To Milpitas City Council member and commission, it is important to implement insurance procedure for small businesses to recover from economic and social impact. As the businesses going through the pandemic, any aid to provide from businesses relief with implementing and establishing insurance would be helpful. Also, state has defined blueprint to reopen the businesses and evaluate the conditions to safely reopen. As every business is different set of guidelines is required to be established. Request council and commission to establish the policy for different businesses. Request to consider the comments. Sincerely, Urvish Mehta. That's all, Director.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. And thank you for the public comment, Mr. Mehta. Okay, good. Glad we went through that process. Now we're going to move forward. Is our chair still with us? And if she is,
Yes, yes,
will you
yes,
continue?
I am.
Will you continue with us, or will you be dropping off?
I'll be about another 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, good. So that's just a heads up to our vice chair that we'll need you to be our acting chair as we move forward. With that, we're going to move on to the next item, and it's just an overview of the economic development strategy. We can go on to the next page. Next slide, please. For some of you, we started this process with Strategic Economics, our consultant, late last summer. So this is just an overview about the economic development strategy. We knew right away, because one of council's priorities was economic development and job growth, that we needed to look at our current economic development strategy, and we knew right away that it was pretty much outdated. It goes back to 2006, right before the Great Recession. And we're talking almost 15 years difference, and the world has changed from the Great Recession to this current recession. So we recommended that we proceed with an economic development strategy. We were trying to prepare the city really for a new economy, one that means we're growing new industries, continue to support local businesses, and making sure that there's access to good quality jobs. And so the economic development strategy is really a roadmap for investment, for new investment and economic opportunities, for business retention, attraction, and expansion, and making sure that we are doing right by creating opportunities for our local workforce. Next slide, please. I'm going to just go through this really quickly. I'll mention a few, but you can see what's on the screen here. Again, some of the goals were to create a resilient and sustainable local economy. We've talked about it, investing versus using the word sustaining. We want to make sure to improve the quality of life for our residents, employees, and visitors. We want to look at identifying forward-looking investments and growth opportunities. We want to make sure to enhance our competitiveness throughout the region here in Silicon Valley. Next slide. These are some of the logos of partners that we communicated with throughout our community outreach. Next slide. This is duplicative or repetitive for some of you that saw this during the early part of the year. We determined that there were certainly some very important strengths that we had, as well as some challenges. And again, I'm going to go through this relatively quickly so we can get to the actual economic development strategies. In terms of strengths, some were that we have really good, strong leadership at the city, and there's good planning efforts underway. Our general plan update is being updated now. There was a GPAC meeting last week. So the next step is to go to council for approval of the general plan update, which is a blueprint for development. There's also the Milpitas metro specific plan that's underway. So there are definitely some good planning efforts. We're known to be a low cost place for real estate. We have a great diversity and culture of restaurants and retail centers, and we have really good access to highways and close to the airport. And obviously now we have BART that started on June 13th. We're connected north, south, and west. So that's going to be really important for us as our community goes from suburban to more urban, especially around the transit center. We do have some challenges, of course. Our brand needs to be strengthened. We're doing that. We're currently going through a brand and a community identification study. Our permitting processes need to be improved. We do lack some entertainment and fine dining and amenities for businesses like childcare. And we will have to, after COVID, really start thinking about mobility and how we get employees back and forth from the transit center. Moving forward, please. This is an important slide because we have roughly between 51 to 53,000 employees that make up our workforce. You've seen this before. The reason I wanted to include this today is that only about 12% of current Milpitas residents have jobs in their backyard. That means that most of our workforce is coming from outside of the city. Close to 47,000 people are coming to our city. So we really need to focus on developing good quality jobs for our residents. That would help in quality of life. People don't have to travel long distances. What I believe is happening is we have a very high skilled workforce with bachelor's and master's degrees and perhaps even PhDs, and they're leaving their homes to come to the peninsula and go to Google and Apple and other places. But these are people that are then going back to Milpitas, and that's where they live. We need to think about creating good job opportunities in our backyard. Next slide, please. And this is just getting a little bit more, giving you more information about that. The dark red depicts where people are located and living that have a higher skilled workforce. And you see that certainly in San Francisco and Oakland and throughout the peninsula. Next slide. This is the top 10 occupation mix of our jobs in Milpitas. You do see that we have programs in highly technical with highly technical backgrounds and bachelors of science or arts, as well as beyond that, master's degrees and PhDs. But you'll notice that we also have retail salespeople, fast food and counter workers, waiters and waitresses. These are our servers, cashiers. These are the jobs. These are the top 10 jobs in our backyard, and we need to obviously continue to keep those jobs. But at this point, every job is a tech job, in my mind. So we need to make sure to have good retooling and reskilling of our workforce. Next slide, please. This is just a quick look at development, real estate development. And you can tell in the 1980s, all the way into the 1990s, right when you get to the dot-com boom, and you see the bust happening in 2000. We had development that included manufacturing, warehouse, office, research and development. And it's not until the last couple of years, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen in dark purple, which is warehouse distribution, that we've seen development happen. We are going to have 2 Amazon projects, not going to have, they are happening. We will have 2 Amazon distribution centers that will start operations soon. They're going to take about 700,000 square feet off of McCarthy Boulevard. But we also need to think about more research and development and office and flex space for those good quality jobs that we all desire. Next slide, please. So we've talked about this before. Our Milpitas niche is somewhere in between advanced manufacturing, R&D and prototyping. And of course, we have Flex and View, Cisco, KLA. These are only just some examples. I think with the development, hopefully that includes R&D and office, it'll help us extend that Milpitas niche into early concept and early R&D. Next slide, please. So this is just a quick slide to let you know that we do have a very strong warehouse and distribution market. There's obviously a high demand throughout the region, especially now during COVID, when e-commerce is ever more important and people are working from home and their products are being delivered. Next slide. And what you see in front of you is office market. You see that for the most part, you see a lot of development around the peninsula. North San Jose has taken shape, and we need to begin to increase the office quality that we have in Milpitas. So we know that the office employers are looking for talent. They're looking for the amenities in and around the office. Good walkability and a mixed use environment. So thankfully, we're planning to create those types of environments with North San Jose and North First Street taking shape. We believe that there will be more opportunity for investment working its way eastbound along 237 into Milpitas. Next slide. Speaking of good quality jobs, we believe that the Milpitas Transit Center will allow us to have a strong business hub in and around that area. We have the area right off of South Milpitas Boulevard where Flex is located, TDK, Headway, various other businesses that are industrial businesses in and around the transit center, what is being now called Milpitas Metro. We see high-tech jobs developing in and around that area. We're looking at supportive infrastructure. Our IT director, Mike Liu, is on now. He's going to council to ensure that we could start looking at 5G infrastructure, which I think is incredibly wise for us to begin to not only allow businesses to expand and invest, but also create new attraction efforts. Next slide, please. This is a slide related to our sales tax by sub area. You can see that Great Mall is a great contributor, close to 25% of our sales tax. The overall city sales tax comes from Great Mall. If somebody can mute themselves, please. Anyway, just wanted to give you a sense of where we are with sales tax. Unfortunately, in the last year, we have seen a decrease in sales tax as well as a decrease in hotel tax, and it is affecting the city's budget. Our council was able to thankfully um, approve a budget this year, but next year and the year after that are going to be challenging for the city. So there's an initiative that our council is putting forth, which is a sales tax measure of 1/4%. Of a quarter, I think it is a quarter, yeah. Next slide, please. So this is really what I wanted to share with you. On May 5th, the City Council approved the Economic Development Strategy, first time in 15 years. We are incredibly proud of the work that we did with our consultant, Strategic Economics. We're proud of the collaboration with all of the different different groups that we worked with. And so the ultimate result was 7 strategies. Now, when we started COVID-19, when we started this initiative, COVID-19 wasn't a thing. It didn't exist. But right before going to council, we relooked at our economic development strategy draft. And so the top 3 strategies here are really focused for us to proceed with helping in business resiliency and recovery. This is a 5-year plan. So in some instances, we're already doing and implementing some of these strategies. In other instances, it'll take us a little bit of time. So again, I have another 7 slides and then we're done with this presentation. So if we can move on to the next slide. Again, we are really wanting to help our small businesses. Our small business community has been just devastated because of COVID-19. So we recognize that they employ a good percentage of our employees in Milpitas. We are helping with technical assistance and financial assistance. We're partnering with the Silicon Valley Small Business Development Center and other groups to make sure that our small businesses stay viable and that they continue to exist and stabilize. Next slide, please. Retail and restaurants, I've mentioned earlier that we're helping with the restaurant promotions campaign. A lot to be said about retail. We have a lot of retail, great diversity of retail, which is important to the culture and our identity, as well as our fiscal health, because they generate sales tax for the city. We do recognize, however, that we have some underperforming centers like the Sarah Center, right off of Calaveras, off of Freeway 880. It's a great opportunity for a gateway opportunity in terms of developing mixed use. So we're talking to various real estate developers, and perhaps in the future we can see a nice 15-acre plus project there. Next slide, please. Workforce development and education. We talked about the 4th industrial revolution with artificial intelligence and machine learning and all these other emerging technologies like robotics and 3D printing and VR, AR. The list is long, but as I mentioned earlier, I do believe that every job is a tech job. And so we need to really continue to partner with our local school district and other educational institutions, workforce organizations like NOVA, which is our workforce investment board, and to prepare our workforce for those emerging technologies. We heard from this group as well as other employers that we need to start thinking about affordable housing, and thankfully our Milpitas Metro plan is looking at affordable housing being implemented in and around the transit center and Great Mall. Next slide, please. Technology and advanced manufacturing makes up 30% of our overall businesses. This is incredibly important for our economy. However, we do recognize that there's a little bit of lack of diversity in the types of R&D. So we'd like to see if there's new production or new opportunities in production like software, life sciences, clean tech, automotive, autonomous vehicles, and perhaps flying cars and all these other really cool things that are happening here in Silicon Valley. Next slide, and I think this is my last slide. Actually, I have two. Light industrial, warehouse and distribution. You've seen that we have high demand for warehouse and distribution space. However, we're of the belief that we can get more value if we're able to update zoning to prioritize light industrial and manufacturing over warehouse and distribution space. It doesn't create those good quality jobs that we're seeking, and it takes an immense amount of square footage. So we want to support and redevelop older warehouses into flex space, tech space, research and development uses. Next slide. The Innovation District, I alluded to this earlier, so I'm just going to go quickly here, but it is an opportunity for us to create an employment area near the Milpitas Transit Center. It's really important for us. We're looking at flex space, incubators, accelerators, working with educational institutions, and creating a really important innovation district so that our brand continues to be that of Silicon Valley. Next slide. City marketing and processes. We recognize that our economic development team can do much better in our branding and marketing, so we're working on that. We also believe that the overall city's permitting process can be improved. A couple of years ago, the city conducted what is known as the Matrix study, and one of the results was to ensure that we look at some of our permitting processes, especially our certificate of occupancy requirements, in order to help new businesses come in or existing businesses expand. With that, I believe this is my last slide. Next slide, please. That is my last slide. I recognize I went through that incredibly fast, but it was because we still have our manufacturing day conversation, and we've done a lot. So I just want to say thank you to our city council, thank you to the Small Business Assistance Subcommittee, and you as commissioners for guiding us for the last 8 months, well, up to May 5th, when the council approved the economic development strategy. But you should all be proud. You're a part of what I would say is history, since it's the first economic development strategy to be approved in 15 years. So congratulations to you and the team. Does anybody have any questions? And if the vice chair wants to speak, you're on mute, just in case.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So when you were preparing, your strategies presentation and putting all that data together, that was a lot of work, and we can see that. So as you were putting that together, how much of it reflects the effects of COVID? Was that taken into consideration?
Yeah, so that is a good question. And I mentioned it earlier. We started this economic development strategy in August, September of last year. COVID didn't exist. So the majority of it was based on moving our economic development work plan forward for the next 5 years. But then, of course, we were expecting to go to council for approval in the early part of the year. COVID hit, the shelter in place order was enacted, and so then we had to pivot. And so we're one of the few departments in the city that has had to completely reprioritize its mission. And right now we're focused on economic development in such a way that we're helping businesses with recovery and resiliency. So the last 2 to 3 weeks before that May 5th city council consideration and approval, we definitely added information about COVID-19. So you'll see that reflected in the strategy as well as its implementation plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And my other question is regarding multi-story buildings. It seems like we have a lot of interest for people to come into Milpitas and build some pretty significantly large buildings, more than 4 or 5 stories. And yet we're not allowing that. How is that going to be changed? What do we need to do? And, if you're saying office space is, or even hotel space is very good returns for the city, and yet we're not letting that happen, is kind of counter to itself in that whole conversation.
I would say actually we are planning for more density and taller buildings. So for example, if you were to look at an area near Tasman and McCarthy Boulevard, that area, if council approves the staff recommendation, it would go from business park, or rather light industrial, which is what it's zoned today, to business park / R&D, business park, research and development. And today's FAR, floor area ratio, is something like 0.50. The proposal is going to be to increase to 2.5 FAR. If that is approved by our city council, you could look at buildings well beyond 4 to 5 stories in that area. Now we're talking about employment. Now moving on to the former TASP area, the Transit Area Specific Plan, which is now being called the Milpitas Metro. There are, as you can see, quite a bit of buildings that are 4 to 5, 6 stories and beyond that. With the Milpitas Metro Specific Plan, that too is an area that is looked at to increase density. It would include mixed uses of trying to work with Simon Properties, which is the owner of Great Mall. It could include office, residential with more affordable housing opportunities. And again, we've been talking about our research and development and flex space. So I would say that our city has been traditionally suburban, but in the area around the transit center, it's becoming a mix of urban and suburban. And it's been called Surban, marrying those two. So it's happening. I would say we're in the planning stages, but of course it has to go through the community engagement, as well as making sure that that our council weighs in and provides their thoughts as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or questions? I recognize that we do have public comments coming in. And there's also another commission that starts at 7 o'clock. So I'm trying to move things along. I will be sure to send you a copy of the economic development strategy that was approved on May 5th. But I will take any other questions. And if there are no questions, then we will move on to public comment.
Alex, I just want to say congrats on your work that you put into it, because 15 years, that's a very long and tedious strategy presentation, and it's you guys did a lot of work, and so I want to say thank you to you and your team for putting all that together. And I'll work on that flying car. We'll see what we can do for you on the flying car.
Excellent. Thank you for the kind words. Very much a team effort, and we had a great consultant in strategic economics who you had a chance to meet in a couple of meetings, and then of course partnering with the Small Business Assistance Subcommittee, as well as our City Council and other colleagues. So thank you. Any other thoughts before we move on? So I'm going to look to our acting chair, Norwood, and let him know that we're done with this item, and it does appear that we have some public comments. So if it's okay, we move on to the public comment period.
Absolutely.
On this item. Mrs. Curry, if you can please assist us reading aloud the public comments.
Yes, it's from Orvish Mehta, P.O. Box in Milpitas. To Milpitas City Council member and commission, it is important that the businesses are able to provide feedback to council and also being recognized as well. Small businesses application webpage and establishing the e-services for business to interact with the city council would be helpful. Reinventing Great Mall and businesses through digital marketing and e-flyer would also be helpful. Bringing grocery stores locally are encouraged as it brings the jobs to Milpitas. Request to consider the comment. Sincerely, Urvish Mehta. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Curry. Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for your comments. Now I'm going to go back to our chair, Commissioner Norwood. I believe we have one item left, which is the Manufacturing Day event. Before you arrived,
Yes.
Commissioner Norwood, we decided to, or rather the commission voted to move item 9A, which is the elections officers, to the meeting in October. So we have one more item, and it'll be Margaret Tamasia that will be given the update. So Mike, if you can please bring up the PowerPoint, please.
Thank
There it
you.
is.
Yes, thank you. So Manufacturing Day is an event that happens across the Bay Area. It's sponsored by the Bay Area Urban Manufacturing Association. And the goal of Manufacturing Day, which I should clarify is really a week, is to promote manufacturing and the importance of that sector, both in terms of just the economy, the jobs that it creates, and also having manufacturers, what that just does for your community. So next slide, please. So what is Manufacturing Day? Well, I think a good way to think about it is for us to show you the video of what we did last year for Manufacturing Day. And I will let that go. Manufacturing Day.
Mike, if you don't mind clicking on that link where it says 2019 video, please.
It is. Manufacturing Day 2019 for us from the Office of Economic Development means we're connecting young students with the possibility of careers in advanced manufacturing technology.
There it is.
Economic development.
There it is.
Manufacturing Day 2019 for us from the Office of Economic Development means we're connecting young students with the possibility of careers in advanced manufacturing and technology.
Economic development starts with manufacturing.
This is the third annual Manufacturing Day in Milpitas. This year we had 3 employers participate, On and On, Headway Technologies, and Flex.
It's an opportunity for us to explore further different partnerships that can exist here in Milpitas.
It's an opportunity for our students to see what the future of manufacturing holds for them.
Manufacturers across the United States are facing a workforce nearing retirement, but lack the younger workers to fill those roles.
Advanced manufacturing is core to our business environment. About 29% of our overall business and workforce is in technology and advanced manufacturing.
It means an opportunity for our students and for our staff members to see in action what is happening in the world and to see in action what they can do with learning so that it's meaningful.
We want to start preparing students today for the jobs that are going to be happening in 4 to 8 years.
It's an opportunity for us to celebrate manufacturing, getting to design, be creative, to build, to explore other opportunities, especially since we're living in the heart of the Silicon Valley.
I just want to inspire some of the kids that might not have ever considered manufacturing to be something they wanted to get involved in.
We chose to participate in Manufacturing Day as a way to promote careers in manufacturing.
What they learned here today, they can take back to their high school and share with their high school friends and their peers. by bringing these kids in, they have an idea what the future is going to be for them. So they actually see what they can do when they graduate.
Students, they loved it. They went crazy about everything.
I like wearing the Bose eyeglasses with the speakers inside of it.
It opened my eyes to like a whole new field of ideas.
A new chance for new opportunities. From the Office of Economic Development's perspective, we work with the local business community to ensure that they're not just surviving, but actually thriving.
We love our community and we want to be able to give back to Milpitas.
The relationship that we have with the city, how much we contribute to them and they to us, and then the community is key.
It's really been a great community for us, and we don't have any plans of moving in the next 40 years.
Manufacturing Day 2019 was a huge success, and we look forward as the City of Milpitas to continue on this effort as an annual event.
Manufacturing is fun!
Well, I think that video is just a fantastic way to show the excitement around manufacturing. And I love the end with the student saying manufacturing is fun. So as we move into this year's Manufacturing Day, which we are targeting that day to be October 9th, which is a Friday. And it's a chance for us in the city of Milpitas to really highlight what's happening with our manufacturers and what makes our manufacturers special and how the city of Milpitas can help continue to support them. So our focus this year, unfortunately, will not be bringing students to manufacturers, but we want to keep the momentum going and we'll do a virtual event instead. So we're going to do a virtual listening session where we will bring in some manufacturers and have a panel discussion. And of course, we will videotape that and have that on our website to allow folks to learn more about what's happening in Milpitas around Manufacturing Day. So if you can go to the next slide. The opposite direction, there should be a third slide. Yep, there we go. So in order to get this to be a strong program, we're asking for the commission to be involved. And the first person we've asked for involvement is to have a moderator, and we've asked our vice chair, Chris Norwood, to moderate this panel discussion, and he has agreed to do that for us. So I want to thank you for that. We've also started to work on our panelists for this event, and we have asked Commissioner Casey McNeil to represent Flex. Flex was such a strong partner and is definitely a very important manufacturer in Milpitas, and we would love to have you participate again this year on the panel. And so we're working to get the other panelists. We're going to probably keep it to no more than 3 other panelists. And the topics for our panel are going to be focused around workforce development, reshoring, and the importance of land use and keeping Milpitas a place that we can be business friendly to manufacturers. And what we're asking for the commission to help us with is to help us market the event and to participate in the event, which is scheduled for October 3rd.
I thought you said October 9th.
I'm sorry, it is October 9th. Yes, okay. Thank you for correcting me on that. Friday, October 9th.
Thank you, Margaret. So Commissioner Norwood, we would be looking for action here to really better understand how the commissioners want to be a part of this. We believe everybody can at least help market, but if there might be other ways that you'd like to get involved in Manufacturing Day. Some of you have attended. Of course, we're on that video. Thank you for joining us last year and or other years. Like I know Casey has been engaged in this, I think all 3 years. So thank you for that. So we thank Commissioners Norwood and McNeil. Any other commissioners that are interested in participating in some way, shape, or form? And just please let us know how you'd like to do that.
Yes. If you can send me some materials that we could put up on the Milpitas Chamber website. And also distribute it through Hot Topics, which goes out every Monday. You know, please contact me, then I'll give you kind of a list of things you can provide, and then we'll get it out to both the public and the businesses.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, this is Juliet. So what are some of the ways the commissioners can participate? Do you have anything in mind?
I think the easiest is on the promotion aspect, but the other ways is to help us really think through some of the critical questions that we can ask the panelists and what you are seeing. I know wearing your commissioner hat, what you're seeing in the community and hearing around either impacts from COVID-19 around manufacturers or just continuing to be a business-friendly place for manufacturers.
Okay, I'm happy to help. I used to work in manufacturing and I have friends that work at Tesla that are in manufacturing on all ends.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none. I'm now trying to think whether we should have or need to have a vote on this. I would hope that at the very least, every commissioner could help us with marketing, aside from other aspects of that.
Director, I have one public comment.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mrs. Curry.
Could I say it now?
I think that's fine. Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It is from Urvesh Mehta, P.O. Box in Milpitas, to Milpitas City Council and Commission. The Manufacturing Day, it is an opportunity to change the perception of careers in manufacturing to reflect its true status as the most advanced high-tech industry. Reestablish the city of Milpitas as the global leader of manufacturing education. Advocate for education and job training policies that strengthen the manufacturing workforce. In order to promote the day, STIC and Youth Commission to be engaged and referred on development plan for the day. Certainly an event to be celebrated. Sincerely, Urvesh Mehta. That's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Curry. Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for your public comments today. So, Margaret, do we need a vote on this, or do we have enough information to proceed?
I think we have enough information to proceed. I don't know if we need a formal vote.
Okay.
For the action item on the council on the agenda, on the commission agenda.
Let me check the agenda really quick.
Well, the recommendation on the agenda says approve Economic Development and Trade Commissioner's participation.
Yeah.
So do we actually need to approve that, or is it just a?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. The fact that we have it on the agenda, we should make sure to follow through. So if somebody can make a motion, I'll hand it back to our to Commissioner Norwood, our Vice Chair, to call for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for the approval of a trade commissioner participating in Manufacturing Day. Or is there a motion?
Yeah, so moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Commissioner Gomez.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Vice Chair, I don't know if you have the agenda in front of you, but that then takes us to item 10, which is adjournment to the next meeting, which is October 12th.
Thank you for that, Alex. Is there a motion to, we have on the, are there any last minute announcements? Otherwise, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion to adjourn.
I second
Ooh,
that.
I was wondering, I thought you guys wanted to stay longer. Okay, thank you for that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
None.
Seeing none, we are adjourned.
Good to see everyone again. Thank you.
Good to see everybody.
Well,
Thank
Stay safe.
this is great.
safe,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Thank you, Councilor Dominguez. Thank you,
Bye.
Commissioner.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.